Have you ever had a dream? I mean, a really profound one, maybe a desire so intense that, failure and fear just couldn't even get in the way? What if we told you that this unwavering belief, this deep-seated conviction, it's not just some fleeting feeling, but actually a foundational pillar for all success. And, what's more, that you can deliberately cultivate it kind of like a skill. This is where we unpack compelling ideas, insights from the sources you provide, really giving you the shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're diving deep into some really fascinating excerpts from a summary of Chapter 2 of Napoleon Hill's timeless classic, Think and Grow Rich. This specific chapter is titled Faith, Visualizing Desire into Reality. So our mission is to really explore Hill's often misunderstood concept of faith. How does he define it? How does it function within your own mind? And most importantly, what are the practical, actionable steps he outlines for you to deliberately build it? We're going to take something that might feel a bit abstract, maybe even mystic, and really show how Hill breaks it down into an utterly practical, almost, scientific method for personal transformation.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable how Hill takes a concept like faith, which is, let's be honest, pretty loaded, right? And he shifts it away from that abstract spiritual belief and really transforms it into something tangible, an actionable force. As the source material suggests, this specific kind of faith is the fuel. It's what turns desire, that raw, burning wish, into concrete, real-world results. This isn't about passive hoping, or just wishful thinking. It's about cultivating an active internal conviction, one that's so potent it actually propels you forward. We'll be connecting the dots on how this truly works in your own life, moving beyond simply wishing for success to actively willing it into being. Okay, let's unpack this and really get into the practical mechanics.
Okay, so right out of the gate, when Hill talks about faith, he's definitely not talking about what you might immediately think of, in a traditional sense. The source makes it very, very clear. This isn't about religious faith. It's not about adherence to a particular doctrine or dogma. It's much more personal, internal, and psychological, really. It's almost like a secular interpretation of a really powerful concept.
Precisely. And to really get Hill's perspective, you kind of have to set aside those conventional definitions. Hill defines this operational faith as, let me get this right, self-confidence, belief, and mental certainty that your desired outcome isn't just possible, but unequivocally achievable. Now, that's a profound conceptual shift, isn't it? Because it takes faith out of the realm of the spiritual or the mystical and plants it firmly within your own mental control, your own capacity.
Right.
It's about cultivating an unwavering inner conviction, a sort of deep-seated knowing that what you're aiming for isn't just a pipe dream or some distant possibility, but, a coming reality, one that you are actively creating. It's definitely not about blind acceptance. It's about a cultivated, self-induced certainty within yourself that you are capable and that your goal is, maybe, inevitable.
That's a truly powerful distinction. And it fundamentally changes the playing field, doesn't it, for how we approach our ambitions. The source even goes so far as to say, faith is a state of mind that may be induced by autosuggestion. Okay, now, for us, for the listeners, what does that phrase, induced by autosuggestion, really mean? Is this something we can truly train ourselves into, like strengthening a muscle at the gym? Because that implies a deliberate, consistent process, not just, waiting for some random inspiration or stroke of luck to hit us.
Well, this raises a profoundly important question, and honestly, it's central to Hill's entire philosophy. If faith really is a state of mind, then the huge implication, the monumental one, is that it's entirely within our conscious control to cultivate. And that analogy of training a muscle is remarkably apt.
Yeah.
It really is. Because it suggests a systematic, repeatable process rather than some random occurrence or, mystical gift. Just like you perform specific exercises, often repetitive ones, right? To strengthen a bicep or improve your cardio endurance. Hill posits that there are specific mental exercises you can do to strengthen your faith muscle.
Oh.
And to address the term directly, autosuggestion, as Hill uses it. It refers to the process by which you communicate directly with your subconscious mind. Through self-induced suggestions or affirmations, it's a deliberate, conscious influencing of your inner world. In essence, you are actively and systematically shaping your internal landscape, your core beliefs, to align precisely with your outer aspirations.
Okay.
You aren't waiting for belief to just spontaneously appear. You are actively, deliberately creating it within yourself through consistent, focused mental practice. Think of it like being the architect of your own conviction, intentionally laying the mental bricks of belief, one suggestion at a time. This is why it's so empowering. It puts the power squarely in your hands.
Right. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, according to the source, and where Hill connects this idea of cultivated faith to the inner workings of our minds. It introduces the pivotal role of the subconscious mind. Now, the claim is that your subconscious mind accepts what you repeatedly tell it, especially when it's filled with emotion. That, especially when it's filled with emotion part. That feels like a critical detail, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It implies something far more profound than just reciting words by rote. What makes that emotional component so absolutely essential for this whole process to work effectively?
That emphasis on repetition and emotion is, absolutely critical. It's not just about saying the words. It's about imbuing those words with genuine, palpable feeling. Whether that's excitement, certainty, gratitude, or even maybe a sense of urgency, your subconscious mind. It isn't merely a passive recording device, It's an incredibly powerful engine that responds most potently to the intensity and the frequency of your internal signals. Think of it this way. Emotion is the energy. It's the current that powers the message you're sending. Without that emotional charge, the words can remain superficial, like a whisper that just fades before it reaches its destination.
Right.
But when they're infused with emotion, they become deeply resonant. They bypass the conscious mind's logical filters, its skepticism, and they directly program the subconscious. The source gives a very specific, very tangible example. Repeating to yourself with confidence, "I will earn 1 crore by December 2025 by providing value through my YouTube channel."
Okay, and while that example uses Indian rupees, the principle works anywhere, right?
Absolutely. The principle is universal. Whether it's reaching a financial goal of, say, $100,000 or launching a successful business or mastering a complex skill, the crucial part isn't just the words themselves. It's that you feel it, believe it, visualize it. That combination, conscious thought, emotional intensity, and vivid mental imagery, that's what truly allows the message to take root and transform from just an idea into an internal directive. It's like sending a high-priority, emotionally charged command to your internal supercomputer, making sure it lands and starts processing.
So, okay, what does this all mean for the listener then? If you consistently feed your subconscious with these powerful, emotionally charged statements day in, day out, what's the supposed outcome? How does this internal programming, this, subtle shift in your inner world, translate into tangible external results in your life?
Well, when your subconscious mind accepts a belief as reality, and this is where it gets truly transformative, a remarkable alignment occurs within your entire being. It's as if your internal guidance system, your very operating system, has been reprogrammed with a new definitive target. Your behavior, your mindset, your daily actions, even your perception of opportunities. They begin to naturally, almost effortlessly, align with that vision you've instilled.
So it becomes automatic almost.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
For instance, if your subconscious fully accepts that you will achieve a certain financial goal, you might find yourself more attuned to potential business opportunities you missed before, or more disciplined in your work habits without forcing it, or maybe more resilient when you face setbacks. You begin to make choices and take actions almost instinctively that move you closer to your goal, often without even consciously realizing the profound shift that has taken place inside.
Wow.
It's like an internal GPS recalibrating to your desired destination. It's not just showing you the path, it's kind of nudging you down it. And this raises a crucial question for all of us, doesn't it? How much of our current reality, our limitations, our struggles, our successes, even what we call luck, how much of that is simply a direct reflection of the deeply held, often unconscious beliefs that we've been feeding our subconscious, whether we meant to or not, throughout our lives?
That's a big question.
It is. What if our limits are not external, but internal? Things we've told ourselves are true.
Now, this is the practical side. I know our listeners are craving this part. Understanding the why is crucial, sure, but knowing the how, that's what truly empowers us to implement these ideas. The source outlines 3 specific, highly actionable tools Napoleon Hill provides for developing what he calls unshakable faith. These aren't abstract concepts, they're concrete steps you can start implementing, like today. Let's unpack each of them because the devil, or maybe the power, is really in the details of how you apply them. Okay, first up. Autosuggestion or repetition. The first tool, as we've touched on, is autosuggestion, primarily through repetition. The source tells you to repeat your goals out loud every day in the morning and at night with full emotion and belief. It's clearly not just mumbling words under your breath, is it? It sounds like you have to really inhabit the statement, not just articulate it. Almost like you're performing a role where you are the person who's already achieved this.
That's a very astute observation, yes. Yeah. This is anything but passive repetition. That phrase, full emotion and belief, isn't just a suggestion, it's the core directive. Think of it less like chanting and more like deliberately installing new software for your brain, instead of letting it run on old, maybe limiting default programs.
Okay, installing new software, like that.
Right. You are actively, consciously programming your subconscious mind by consistently reinforcing your desired reality. This consistent, emotionally charged input, it actually creates deep neural pathways. It essentially rewires your brain over time to make that belief more ingrained, more automatic. Imagine you're trying to carve a path in dense wilderness. The more consistently you walk that path, the clearer it gets, the smoother, the easier it becomes to walk down, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, the more consistently you repeat your goals with real emotion, the more accessible that desired reality becomes to your subconscious. And that leads it to start working on its manifestation. Now, a common question here is, well, how consistent does this repetition truly need to be to make a tangible, lasting difference in your subconscious programming? And while there's no single magic number, the key seems to be daily, dedicated consistency. It's about showing your subconscious that this message isn't just a fleeting thought, it's a top priority. It's not just brute force, it's sustained, emotionally intelligent input.
And that leads directly to a crucial follow-up, one I imagine many listeners are thinking right now. What if you don't feel that full emotion and belief at first? You know, if you're just starting out and the belief isn't fully ingrained yet, does simply going through the motions still work? Or is that genuine, powerful feeling absolutely critical from day one? Is there maybe a progression where the consistency eventually builds the emotion, like a muscle building strength?
That's a very insightful and practical point, absolutely. Because feeling that deep conviction right from day one, that can definitely be a challenge for many people. And yes, there's absolutely a progression. There's a feedback loop at play here. While the ultimate goal is definitely to integrate that full emotion, the source implies that the act of consistent repetition itself can actually help induce that state of mind, even if it's not fully present right at the start.
Okay, so the action can create the feeling.
To some extent, yes. Think of it like this. In the beginning, you might indeed feel like you're going through the motions, consciously choosing the words, despite maybe some internal skepticism. However, if you persist, and especially if you consciously try to conjure even just a flicker of the expected emotion, the joy, the pride, the relief you'd feel having achieved the goal, your subconscious begins to register it.
Ah, okay. So even trying helps.
Exactly. It's a bit of a snowball effect. Repetition leads to familiarity. Familiarity can reduce your conscious mind's resistance and doubt. And reduced resistance makes it significantly easier for genuine emotion to actually emerge and grow stronger over time. So while the full, powerful feeling is absolutely critical for the most potent and rapid programming, the consistency of the repetition is what helps to cultivate that feeling. It's about building the muscle of belief and emotional connection, even when it feels weak or distant initially. It's about acting as if until the as if becomes your reality. So yeah, don't get discouraged if the full emotional resonance isn't there immediately. Focus on the consistent, deliberate act of repetition, and the emotion will often follow.
Okay, that's really encouraging. Now, the second method is affirmations or self-talk. This one's closely related, but maybe a bit broader. Affirmations or positive self-talk. The source gives examples like, I am confident, I am capable, I am getting closer to success every single day.
How is this really different from auto-suggestion? Or are they maybe two sides of the same coin, just applied slightly differently to achieve a similar end? Well, what's truly fascinating here is the sheer power of our internal dialogue, that constant chatter in our heads. While auto-suggestion, as we discussed, often focuses on programming very specific, quantifiable goals into the subconscious, like that financial example, earning X amount by Y date.
Right.
Affirmations are generally broader. They're foundational statements about your identity, your capabilities, your inherent worth. They are about building the robust internal framework of self-worth, resilience, and general positivity that makes achieving those specific goals far more likely and maybe more sustainable too.
So affirmations are like building the foundation, and auto-suggestion is building the house on top.
That's a great way to put it, yes. You can think of affirmations as creating the rich, fertile mental and emotional soil in which your specific auto-suggestions can take root and really flourish. If we connect this to the broader psychological picture, it's about consciously shaping the continuous narrative you have about yourself. Your subconscious is always listening, right? Not just to your direct targeted commands, but also to the constant, often unconscious chatter of your inner voice. Are you telling yourself you're not good enough? Or are you telling yourself you're capable, resilient, and deserving? Affirmations ensure that this fundamental internal narrative is consistently empowering. They provide a strong, positive base for all your specific aspirations. They build the underlying confidence that empowers you to take the necessary actions for your goals.
So it sounds like auto-suggestion is the specific destination you're programming into your internal GPS, and affirmations are about upgrading the vehicle itself and honing the skills of the driver that's going to get you there. It really seems like both are absolutely essential for a holistic approach.
Precisely. You nailed it. You need a clearly defined destination, sure, but you also fundamentally need to believe you have the innate capacity, the skills, the worthiness to actually reach it. Without that foundational belief in yourself, even the most clearly articulated goal can feel out of reach, or you might unconsciously self-sabotage along the way. Affirmations build that fundamental self-belief and resilience. For example, if your auto-suggestion is to land a specific job, your affirmation might be something like, I am a highly skilled and valuable professional, which fortifies your confidence for the interview process.
Okay.
Or, if you're trying to improve your health, maybe you affirm, my body is strong and vibrant, supporting your efforts towards healthier habits. They work hand in hand.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, third method, visualization. This third method, and one that many people find incredibly powerful, is visualization. The source says, see yourself already living your goal, feel the success before it happens. And then it adds, your brain starts believing what it vividly imagines. This sounds like creating a full sensory mental movie of your future, but with complete immersion, right? Not just a fleeting thought or some vague image. How do we make this truly powerful?
Exactly. Visualization is incredibly potent, precisely because, as the source says, your brain often struggles to differentiate between a vividly emotionally imagined experience and a truly real one. It's fascinating, actually. When you intensely visualize and feel the success, when you genuinely experience the sights, the sounds, the emotions, even the physical sensations of having already achieved your goal, we're essentially pre-experiencing.
Okay.
Yeah, and this mental rehearsal doesn't just create a nice feeling. It begins to forge new neural pathways in your brain, making the path to your goal feel more familiar, more achievable, and frankly, less intimidating. It acts as a powerful, detailed blueprint for your subconscious, showing it exactly what to work towards. Your brain essentially thinks, oh, I've already been there, done that, which reduces perceived obstacles and boosts your confidence in your natural inclination to take action. This raises a crucial question for our listeners, though. How can someone make their visualizations truly vivid and emotionally charged? What does it really mean practically to feel the success before it happens, especially if you're currently maybe far from that reality and perhaps struggling with doubt?
That's a great question, because just telling someone to feel it can be tricky. It feels abstract sometimes. Perhaps it's about tapping into the emotions you expect to feel when you achieve it. You know, the immense pride, the profound relief, the exhilarating joy, the deep sense of accomplishment, that quiet satisfaction, and allowing those emotions to surge through you now during the visualization itself.
Yes.
It's almost like emotional time travel, isn't it? Bringing the future feeling right into the present moment.
Precisely. That's a perfect way to describe it. Emotional time travel. It's all about emotional resonance and sensory richness. So if your goal is, say, financial abundance, it's not just about seeing numbers in a bank account. It's about feeling the freedom that wealth provides, the ability to travel maybe, or to give back, support loved ones, the peace of mind that comes with security.
Right, the consequences of the goal.
Exactly. It's about hearing the congratulatory calls, seeing the beautiful spaces you can now afford, maybe smelling the fresh air on that vacation you planned. If it's a specific achievement, like winning a competition, it's feeling the adrenaline, hearing the roar of the crowd, maybe the weight of the medal in your hand, the taste of victory. The more sensory details you deliberately add what you see, hear, touch, smell, even taste in that imagined future, the more real and compelling it becomes to your subconscious.
So engage all the senses.
Yes. And to truly feel the success, try maybe recalling a past moment of triumph, any triumph, big or small, and amplifying those sensations.
Yeah.
Or imagine how you would physically feel, lighter, maybe more energetic, calmer, stronger. The goal is to make the imagined experience so compelling that your subconscious treats it like a memory of something that has already happened. And that then compels your actions to align with that memory. It's about tricking your brain, but in the best possible way. Tricking it into believing your desired future is already here, so it naturally works to manifest it.
Wow. Okay, these three tools, autosuggestion, affirmations, visualization, they seem like a really powerful combination. And the source provides a truly compelling anecdote from Napoleon Hill's own life that really brings all these concepts together in a very powerful personal way. It's the story of his son, Blair, who was born without the ability to hear. This isn't just theory or abstract advice. It's presented as a profound testament from the author himself, illustrating the very principles he's advocating.
Yes, this is an incredibly powerful illustration of these principles in action, and it really demonstrates the profound depth of Hill's own conviction in his methods. So the doctors delivered what seemed like an unshakable verdict. Hill's son, Blair, born without hearing, would never learn to speak or hear. No. Period.
Devastating news for any parent.
Absolutely. But Hill, embodying the very principles he taught, apparently refused to believe it. He didn't just passively accept the diagnosis or resign himself to it. No. Instead, he systematically applied the tools we've just discussed. He repeated powerful thoughts, the source says, about his son's ability to hear and speak. That's a clear demonstration of relentless autosuggestion and affirmation, right? Reinforcing a desired reality completely contrary to all the external evidence. He also visualized his son speaking, a direct application of the visualization technique, creating that vivid mental blueprint of the outcome he desired. And crucially, the source emphasizes he never gave up faith. He maintained that unwavering belief and consistent effort despite, years of challenges and probably skepticism from others. This story really shows how he integrated all three methods: consistent verbal programming, positive identity reinforcement for his son in his own mind, and vivid mental rehearsal into an unbreakable belief system.
And the outcome, as the source describes it, is nothing short of remarkable. It almost defies conventional medical understanding of the time. It says, years later, his son did learn to speak and hear something doctors had declared impossible. That's presented as the real, undeniable power of this cultivated belief in action, right from Hill himself.
Exactly.
It's a story explicitly designed to underscore that these aren't just feel-good exercises, but tools for profound, maybe even seemingly miraculous shifts in reality.
Yeah, and while it's presented as an inspiring story, and it certainly is compelling, from Hill's perspective, it's offered as empirical evidence from his own life. Evidence that these methods, when applied with truly unwavering faith and relentless consistency, can produce results that defy conventional wisdom and perceived limitations. It highlights the profound influence our inner conviction can have, not only on our own actions and mindset, but, as this story strongly suggests, perhaps even on physical realities and developmental outcomes.
It really challenges you to think.
It does. It challenges us to reconsider the traditional boundaries of what is truly possible when belief is cultivated to be truly unshakable. Now, of course, modern science might offer different explanations or perspectives for such an outcome today. But Hill's emphasis, his core point, is squarely on the power of the human mind to overcome and influence. And this raises an important question for you, the listener. What seemingly impossible beliefs might you be holding about your own potential, about what you could achieve, or even about your own circumstances? Beliefs that perhaps, like Hill suggests he did, you have the power to challenge and rewrite through deliberate mental cultivation. What narratives are you telling yourself that might be holding you back unnecessarily?
That's a heavy question to sit with. So, okay, after unpacking how faith is defined in this context, how the subconscious plays such a crucial role in these specific practical methods, Hill provides autosuggestion, affirmations, visualization. What are the absolute core takeaways? What are the essential nuggets for us, the listeners, from this deep dive into Napoleon Hill's work? The things we should really internalize and carry forward into our own lives?
Well, the source provides some crystal clear lessons that really distill the essence of this chapter. First, and this is a direct challenge, it states, belief is not optional. It's essential. Which means it's not just a nice to have, right? Or something that might appear eventually, like a bonus ingredient. No, it's presented as a fundamental prerequisite, a foundational component. Without it, your desires remain just that, desires, sort of floating unmoored, without the fuel or the engine to turn into reality.
So belief comes first.
It's presented as the very core of initiating any successful endeavor.
Yes. And following that, a very direct, maybe even challenging statement that underscores the personal responsibility here. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. It really emphasizes that you can't outsource this fundamental self-conviction to others, can you? It has to originate and be cultivated within you.
Exactly.
It's not about waiting for external validation or permission. It's about building an internal fortitude, a self-trust that then radiates outwards.
And another critical takeaway here, one that links directly back to our earlier discussion on the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind follows the instructions you give it, so choose your thoughts wisely. This powerfully reinforces that idea of conscious, deliberate control over your inner programming. It's a stark reminder, really, that our subconscious is constantly being fed and shaped, whether we are deliberate about it or not. This lesson becomes a potent call to action. Become profoundly mindful of the thoughts you entertain, the words you speak to yourself, the internal narratives you consistently play on repeat. Because those thoughts, positive or negative, they are literally programming your future, according to this philosophy.
And finally, the source sums it all up beautifully with this potent declaration. It really captures the whole promise of this chapter. Thoughts mixed with faith become unstoppable. That's the ultimate synergy, isn't it? The sheer power generated when a clear, compelling idea is combined with an unwavering, deeply rooted belief in its realization. It's presented as the formula for unleashing immense personal power.
Exactly. And when we connect this to the bigger picture, these lessons aren't just abstract ideas to ponder, or intellectual exercises. They are a clear, actionable directive for how you should approach your goals and aspirations. They emphasize that the mental component, your inner conviction, your belief system, is just as critical, if not more critical, than the physical actions you take. It's about understanding that your thoughts, when infused with that powerful blend of belief and emotion, aren't just fleeting mental events. They are the true drivers, the potent forces that shape your reality and propel you relentlessly towards what you desire. This chapter, above all, really establishes the fundamental principle that true, lasting success begins with an unwavering inner conviction.
Okay, so to quickly recap our deep dive into the power of faith from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, we learned that for Hill, it boils down to something like faith plus desire, a success mindset. It's about building this powerful, non-religious form of belief through active autosuggestion and consistent repetition. It's about vividly visualizing your success daily with intense emotion and continuously speaking to yourself through empowering affirmations as if you've already achieved your goals. It's presented as a really profound inside-out approach to personal transformation and achievement.
Right. And what's fascinating here, I think, is that the journey of belief, as Hill outlines it, it doesn't really end with simply understanding these principles, does it? In fact, understanding them often leads to a deeper, more practical inquiry. If belief really is this powerful, and the subconscious mind is the key mechanism, then how exactly do you ensure that those positive thoughts and affirmations consistently plant themselves in your mind, over and over again, and with such intensity that your brain starts acting on them automatically, almost without conscious effort? It's one thing to know what to do, right? But it's another thing entirely to truly master the precise mechanism of how to embed these ideas so deeply that they turn conscious effort into unconscious habit.
That's a truly powerful thought for you to mull over. The answer, as the source material seems to hint, lies in understanding the very medium and, crucially, the methodical consistency through which you can influence and effectively reprogram your subconscious mind. It's about making the intentional act of belief so ingrained, so deeply rooted, that it becomes an automatic part of your being, influencing your actions, your choices, and ultimately shaping your very reality. It's really about bridging that gap between conscious intention and automatic execution. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and definitely keep challenging your own perceived limits. Until next time, stay curious.
If this audiobook inspired you, imagine what the next one will do. Subscribe now and turn your time into transformation, one audiobook at a time. Hit the bell so you never miss the words that could change your world.